Welcome back, guys. This is Zane. Sorry for the inconsistent video schedule for the last little bit. I don't have a toilet in my house because the plumbing is a little messed up, so I haven't been able to go poop in my own house. But you know what else is round and brown and something else you don't want to put in your mouth, just like poop? Rocks. So we're going to talk about rock type today. I'm going to go in reverse generational order. Just a quick refresher on this video series if you guys have not seen the older ones before. We're going to rank all of the rock types in a general sense, not going off one game, but in any game you might encounter them in a Nuzlocked format, how good they are for your playthrough. I've got the F tier, C tier, B, A, S, and then I've got the Rolling Stone tier where I'm going to crown what I think is the best rock type for any of your Nuzlocke runs. Don't think that any of these band names are any kind of tiering at all. It's just band names with the letter of the tier. So there we go. Let's go in reverse generational order because that's fun. It's fun to do that sometimes. So Cleavor I think is B. For like, you're really only using this thing in Legends Arceus, and it's fine. Stone Edge is, or not Stone Edge, Stealth Rock is a cool chip move. Does Splintering. I think Splintering is pretty cool. It's good for like wall breaking in that game. It's alright. Bug Rock is good typing. It hits hard. It's a very solid Pokemon. The Avalugg form is like C. It's a good physical tank, but it has no special defense, so it's very niche. And Ice Rock is just not good at really being a tank type. It's like okay offensive typing, but I think C is fine. I think Arcanine, the rock type Arcanine is still Arcanine. I put it in B tier because you don't have like Intimidate in Legends Arceus because you don't have abilities, but it still has good offensive presence because it has good stats, good bulk. I mean, like Stab Rock Slide, Stab Flare Blitz is really good. It's a really good combo, so it's a very solid Pokemon. I thought about A tier. If it had Intimidate, it'd definitely be A tier, if not better. But it's still like a Gen 1 Arcanine at the very least. So I think it's at least B tier comparatively to everybody else. Stonejourner is its ability is only useful in doubles, so basically just have an ability in singles in a 1v1 fight or one-on-one fight. So it's just another Avalugg. It's like better than Avalugg. It's a little faster, but it's kind of the same thing. That stat layout of just being really good physical tank but having no special defense is so niche, and you can only use it for so little things. So Colossal I think is B tier. Fire Rock it's okay typing. You're really not going to use Steam Engine unless they could use it against like the fire type gym leader. So it's good against him. It's a really good fire killer, and that's kind of all it is. I mean, Fire Rock is okay coverage. It is good offensive coverage. It has okay bulk. It doesn't hit very hard. It's got some good. It's got some good things. So, cool typing. You see a use for it. It's not awful. It's just not great. You're really not doing Steam Engine shenanigans in like a Nuzlocke playthrough like you are in like VGC. Dreadnought I think is actually really good. I think I still have it in B tier. The Water Rock. He's got Shell Armor, which is great. It's a great ability. Strong Jaw is also good. I think Swift Swim is his hidden ability, if I'm correct. Yeah, but still, Strong Jaw's solid. Shell Armor is the better ability. Shell Armor is just nice. It's a nice early game rock type. It's going to be overshadowed by other water types later, but you still do get like Shell Smash late, which is cool. I don't think it's the best Shell Smash. I think it's very middle ground. It's a very usable Pokemon, but nothing crazy. Minior is weird. This Pokemon's weird. I'm gonna throw it in the A tier for the potential, but it's kind of awkward. So this thing, when it's in its shell form, it cannot be status, which is really cool. It's bulkier, and then once it goes to low HP or below half HP, it turns into this really fast, really offensive, but frail Pokemon, and it can use like Shell Smash to help. It's a really good like Shell Smash Pokemon, but there's other Pokemon that can Shell Smash and still be good without having to get really frail at the end and like have this weird kind of stance change ability. I don't like stance change abilities. I don't like the inconsistency of them, but it still can be good. So I'll throw it A tier. I think A tier feels fine for it. Alolan Golem is just so much worse than regular Golem. Rock Electric is just kind of redundant because you're not gonna beat water types. You already beat flying types, so the electric type part is pretty much useless. And Galvanize is I think it's even a hidden ability, so it's just not worth it. You're just so much better being a rock and ground type. So C tier. It's not awful. Okay, all the Lycanroc forms. I don't think they're all in the same tier. I think I have Dusk form or Midnight form Lycanroc and like C tier. They're all offensive rock types. They all have Excel Rock and, which is really good, priority rock stab. And they're just all offensive rock types, but they losing the speed. First off, Midnight form has the worst ability of all of them because it doesn't have Sand Rush on midday form or Tough Claws on Dusk form, which Dusk form is the best. The other two are just fast naturally, and this one's just not. It's got a little bit more bulk, but not enough to really matter. I don't think this is like a super bulky Pokemon. It's just, yeah, I feel like losing the speed and not the good ability is just dumb. Oh, and the Midnight form doesn't even get Excel Rock, so yeah, never mind. C tier. I think it's like, yeah, it's like here. It's still an okay offensive rock type, but the other two forms are just so much better. Because of speed, because of Excel Rock, and yeah, the bulk doesn't really matter. You don't get much bulkier. You have too many weaknesses to be bulky if you're a mono rock type. Unless you like have huge bulks, you know. So I think Midnight form is about C tier, and the other two forms are an A tier. I think the Dusk form is the best because Tough Claws is really good. And 110, you get more attack. You just do more damage than the other form, but Sand Rush, Lycanroc is just good. It's good as well if you want to build a sand team. And it's just going to be outspeeding everything. Carbink is kind of disappointing. I feel like it's so power crept. It's just not really that impactful. It's just a flat out wall. The fairy typing is cool, but doesn't really do that much to help. You're not weak to fighting now. That's kind of cool. It's just kind of like you put up screens. Maybe you set Sandstorm or use Rock Tomb to lower speed, and that's kind of all you do. And there's just there's better choices. There's other better choices. I think Aurorus, is that this Pokemon's name? Some of the Gen 6 Pokemon, I'm not gonna remember their names all the time. Aurorus, I was right. Refrigerate is cool. Refrigerate is a cool offensive type. Rock Ice can be cool offensively. It's slow. It has really awful defensive typing. So you kind of have to make it move first. But the reward for just stab, like Hyper Beam Hyper Beam being a stab ice move is cool. It also gets like Encore, which is useful. It has like Thunder Wave. It has ways to make itself work with like Thunder Wave and Encore, and then you just like Hyper Voice or some kind of Ice Stab, and then Rock Stab, maybe Ancient Power, sure. Maybe just double Ice. It's okay. It's usable. I've used it before. I used it in my only X and Y Nuzlocke. I don't even think I beat it, but I just used it for a while, and it was okay. It's useful. Tyrantrum though I think is way better. Strong Jaw, Dragon Rock is really cool typing. Yeah, Strong Jaw. It's going to be the earliest Dragon type you'll get. I want to say at that point in like Gen 6. It's a usable speed stat. It's a good physical tank. Its special defense isn't like so atrociously bad, and the typing is just cool. It still have a lot of weaknesses but you're not weak to some things that you were normally would be weak to as a rock type. So like you can beat your rock type that can actually beat water because you have Strong Jaw, Thunder Fang, or beat grass types because of Ice Fang or Fire Fang. There's some cool stuff to it. It's a good offensive Pokemon. Maybe like the bottom of A tier, top of B tier. It's still a Dragon type, so I'd be willing to put it here. Give it like Rock Polish. Give it the Rock Polish TM. There you go. Barbicle is the ugliest Pokemon ever, but it's actually good because Tough Claws and good bulk, and it gets Shell Smash. Sniper is also useful too. Like Tough Claws, it's got good. I like its stat layout overall. The speed is nice once you Shell Smash and double it. And you have Rock Polish too. You don't even have to Shell Smash. You get Rock Polish pretty early. And just like Tough Claws, Razor Shell is great. You don't really get good Rock Stab, but like you'll have like the early game Rock Tomb or something. So you'll have enough. You'll have moves. The moves are a little like outside of the moves being a little funky. I think it's still really good. Tough Claws and Shell Smash or Rock Polish is good. It's a good Pokemon. It's just better than like Dreadnought. I think Crustal's really good too. Shell Armor is great. Shell Armor is a really good ability. You just don't have to worry about taking crits. So you can play a much more consistent game, which is really cool. And Bug Rock is cool. It's bulky. It gets Shell Smash, of course. It's another Shell Smash rock type. It's a great early game. You get it like early mid game. Early to mid game. Dweble's gonna be fine. It evolves not too late. Sturdy is, you know, you're hoping for Shell Armor. But if you get Shell Armor, it's good. I think it's good. You get early Smackdown, early Bug Bite, which can be cool moves. You get like set Stealth Rock for your team. You can Rock Polish or Cell Smash and try to sweep. A lot of cool stuff to it. I like it. I'm gonna put it like up here. Archeops, the ability sucks, but Archeops' stats are just so crazy, and the ability. So the Fetus, once you get below half HP, your attack and your special attack gets halved. But this Pokemon's pretty frail already, so once it's half HP, you don't really want it out anyways, so I don't really care about the Fetus. I'm gonna be completely honest, and I mean 110 speed, 140 attack. That's S tier to me. I'm gonna switch it out when it's below half HP anyways, so I'll just keep it healthy and just sweep. And you've got like U-turn too. You can just U-turn out afterwards. After it doesn't lower your speed, so you're still just like you're still fine. The thing is, I think this thing's crazy. Plus, you even have like this cool support and like Tailwind. You get U-turn by level up, which is cool. I think this thing's crazy. Just 140 attack, 110 speed is just ridiculous. I don't care about the Fetus at all. Caracosta is Solid Rock is cool. It's a cool ability. I'm gonna talk about it more with another Pokemon that I think it's better on. But Caracosta, however you want to say it. Caracosta. Yeah, Sturdy is fine. Sturdy's usable. Solid Rock is what you're hoping for. Actually, Sturdy's really good against if you have a Caracosta versus, not a Caracosta, a Turtoga against, what's her name? The Electric Gym in Black and White. If you have Sturdy, you can actually maybe take out an Emolga with a Rock type move and then Aqua Jet, because you get Aqua Jet early, which is cool. So Sturdy's definitely usable. Solid Rock Shell Smash is cool. It's really bulky. It's not like atrocious special defense like these two are, so it's not quite there. I think A or B tier. I think I have it in A tier for the usefulness. I do have it in A tier, and I like it. Early Aqua Jet is cool. Early Smackdown is cool. Smackdown, honestly, this thing is so useful for what is her name? I can't remember her name. The Electric Gym in Gen 5. The Electric Gym Leader in Gen 5. He's actually really good for that. I think it's useful. And then yeah, Shell Smash later is good. You can even run like Iron Defense or Curse. You don't even have to Shell Smash. You can just be like a really bulky Pokemon. Yeah, I think A tier is fine. I like it in A tier. About like right here. See who's next up. Gigalith I think is one of the best rock types. It's super bulky. It hits really hard. It's got good special defense too. Good, quote unquote good. It's got decent special defense too, so it just adds to the bulk. Sturdy is good. It's really, really good. It's a really, really good early game rock type in like Black and White. It takes care of I cannot remember any of these gym leaders' names. It takes care of the normal gym for you. It solos a normal gym for you. It's probably the best Pokemon against the Electric Gym because the Emolgas. Weak armor is whatever, but later generations, I think it's Gen 7. Gen 7, Gen 8, if you get one, if you get a Gigalith, you can have Sandstream, which makes its special defense so much bulkier, so much better. It's a perfect Trick Room Pokemon. You can build like a Trick Room Sand Team, which is pretty easy to do because Bronzong is in a lot of the games, or just get something to use Trick Room. And even without it, this thing's just so bulky. It hits really, really hard too. I think it's amazing. I think this is amazing rock type. Rhyperior, I think, is also one of the S tiers. Just solid rock on this thing with the crazy bulk, crazy physical bulk. It hits so hard. You have Rock Polish to just become super fast and sweep. Even has Lightning Rod, which Lightning Rod, I mean, you have Lightning Rod is not that good. Never mind. Actually, ignore that comment because it's a ground type. But yeah, it's really crazy bulk. The 115 HP carries the special defense, and Solid Rock, it just carries everything. If you ever take a physical like water move, you're fine. You're fine. You're taking it. You can just take the hit, and then you fire back with 140 Really strong attacks. Gets like Mega Horn coverage for some reason. You get the elemental punches. This thing just gets crazy. It's such a crazy offensive Pokemon. And Solid Rock is so good. I really think that ability is just so good. It just means you just tank so many things. Even you can tank super effective hits. Like a fighting type move, ground type move, steel type move, you're taking that. You're not taking much damage from that. I think it's about up here. I think Gigalith. I don't know which one of these two I like better. They're both really good. Probopass is... I like this Pokemon a lot. I think it's a really good early game Pokemon. Because you get Nosepass relatively early, and you could usually evolve into Probopass pretty early. So you have early Steel type. Steel Rock isn't great, but the moveset's really cool. You give it Stealth Rocks pretty early if you have it. It gets Thunder Wave and Rock Slide really early. Nosepass and Probopass both do. And I think that combo with the Steel typing is good. I think it's good. I think it's a very solid B tier. It very quickly drops off. You're going to switch it out for another Rock type or another Steel type later, but it's good for what it is. It's better than Bastiodon. All that Bastiodon does is Metal Burst, and that's it. You like Stealth Rock, Taunt, Metal Burst. That's all you do. It's way too niche. Rampardos is... You have to build an entire team around making this thing work, and it's not that worth it. It's super frail, super slow. It hits really hard. Cool. That's cool. Sure. Mold Breaker Earthquake is cool, I guess. Sure. It's way too slow, way too frail. You have to build so much of your team around it to make this thing work. I've done it before. It's not worth it. Just trust me. It's bad. I think Relicanth is another B tier. It has really good defense. It's kind of a cool water killer. Or not water killer, but like it's kind of a cool water type that can fight other water types because of the Rock Stab. You have Rock Head, Head Smash. You have Swift Swim. So both the abilities are really good. Being a Swift Swim Rock type is just cool. It's not as good as like another Swift Swim Rock type I'll talk about a little bit later, but I like it for what it is. It's usually a later game Pokemon, but I think it's useful. It's pretty useful. It does some good damage. It's got some good tankiness. The abilities I wrote both really good. I think B tier is fine. Armaldo, as much as I love Armaldo, I think I have to keep it B tier. It's another shell armor, or battle armor, I guess. Bug and rock type. The shell armor or rock armor? Or just shell armor or battle armor? I can't remember. Both, it's the same thing. Doesn't get crit. It just never gets crit. It has battle armor. It never gets crit. I think Crustle's just a little bit better because you get Crustle earlier. It's like if you had the two Pokemon in the same game, you're going to have your Crustle earlier most of the time. But Armaldo is bulky. It hits hard. You can teach you like something like Swords Dance. It just kind of lacks stab early generations. But then later generations, it gets better moves. But I think it's just still worse. You don't have like Shell Smash like Crustle does. I think I'm going to leave it in the B tier. I love this Pokemon a lot. I think it's good. It's just not as good. It's not quite A tier. It's not quite. It doesn't have something crazy like the guys in the A tier do. I think. Cradily, I think it's usually lacking some moves. Cradily usually has a weird moveset. Suction Cups, whatever. Storm Drain would help it, but it's a hidden ability. And then Grass Rock is just not that good. It has good bulk. It doesn't not do damage, but it just doesn't do a lot of damage. The typing is just weird, and I think you're just better off with another grass type and another rock type most of the time. It has like, I don't think Ingrain is good. Honestly, the best part about it is the fact that it gets like Stockpile. In later generations, you get like Stockpile or you have Amnesia, and it can be a good wall. It can be a good wall. Put it like the top of C tier, maybe B tier, maybe B tier. Stockpile, I'll put it in B tier. Stockpile Giga Drain, I'll put it in B tier. There you go. Stockpile Ingrain Giga Drain, and like Confuse Ray, and Leech Seed. Yeah, I'll give it to it. It can kind of just sit there. I'll give it B. Solrock and Lunatone, I'm putting in A tier, and I know people are going to disagree with this, but Rock Psychic is cool. You're a rock type that's not weak to fighting. You both have Levitate, so you're a rock type that's not weak to ground. And stat-wise, they're both good. Solrock is a pretty good offensive or physically offensive Pokemon. Lunatone has better special attack. I think Lunatone's a little bit better because it has like Ice Beam. You can like Calm Mind Ice Beam this thing. They both get cosmic power. They don't have amazing stats, so they don't hold out as well later game, but just still being rock types with levitate is really cool. And not weak to fighting. Two of your biggest weaknesses are just gone. And they have cool coverage. They have cool support moves. They can be screen users. They're just like good, flexible Pokemon for the earlier game, and they do okay in the later game. Ludotone specifically does better in the later game because of like Calm Mind, Ice Beam. With levitate and stuff is pretty cool. Like Psychic. Lunotone's like a better Psychic type, and then Solrock's like a better Rock type. He gets Rock Slide really early, which is cool. I like him a lot. Aggron. I think the real issue with Aggron is the inconsistent moveset. It also evolves really late, which sucks. But in later generations, when it has like Autotomize and you have Rockhead Double Edge, that doesn't really do anything for you. Okay, so it's gonna go in the B tier. It's gonna stay in the B tier because it's a Steel type. But I think something like Probopass is better, honestly, for just being a supportive, tanky Steel type. Aggron just has such weird moves. I'll pull it down here. Nosepass, I'm actually putting in the B tier with Probopass. It's really, this Nosepass is only talking about Gen 3 because it evolves in the next generation. But as awkward as it is to get in like Emerald, early Thunder Wave, early Rock Slide, you get like Sandstorm. It's a really good wall, honestly. You have Paraflinch. You can just pass around Thunder Wave and be a bulky Pokemon. You don't do a lot of damage, but Stab Rock Slide will still be nice with just Paraflinch. And that's kind of like, you can set stand if you want to do like a sand team, or try to build a sand team, or like a bulky. It pairs really well with like a bulky like Skarmory or something, which you might get in your game. I like it. I think it's good. I think it's a good Pokemon. It's really helpful for the early game too. It's useful against all the gyms you're gonna go up against. The Watson, Flannery, Norman, and Winona. It's good against all of them because it has really good bulk early. Even if it doesn't do a ton of damage, you resist or are super effective against most of those gyms, and just still Thunder Waving things is really useful. I really like this thing actually. I think it's very solid. I'm gonna put it pretty high in the B tier, or just in the B tier. So T-Tar, you don't really get to use this thing in Johto. It's kind of hard to think of. I can't remember exactly what every game you get to use it in, but it's a pseudo-legendary, so it's an end game rock type in Sandstream. This thing changes the way you build your teams. You can have Dragon Dance. It's a crazy Pokemon, but you get it really late, and you might not want to build a sand team at that point. Like, it's kind of a late game Pokemon, and if you're going to use it against Elite Four, you kind of have to change the rest of your team against the Elite Four kind of thing. So I'm just gonna leave it A. It's really good. It's a really good Pokemon, but it's a little awkward. It's just a little awkward. Magcargo is awful because Slugma is like the worst Pokemon ever, and Magcargo doesn't help at all. Shuckle, I think, is kind of like Carbink. It's a good bulky Pokemon, but it doesn't really do anything. Like, I'd rather take a less bulky Pokemon that offers more to the team, whether it's more damage output or even like a Cradily, honestly, that can like heal itself and sit there and basically be bulkier because it has HP restoration or something. It kind of just sits there and gets whittled away at. Corsola just has really bad stats. Corsola is just sadly a Gen 2 Pokemon with really bad stats that never gets helped. They give it a Galarian form, which is a ghost type, and that gets an evolution, and that Pokemon's amazing, but regular Corsola just kind of does nothing, and it's sad. It's a sad little Pokemon. Sudowoodo is a pretty good early rock type. You get like grass coverage with like Wood Hammer in like Gen 4, which is cool. But I think still C tier. I think of it kind of like this Lycanroc, like the Midnight Lycanroc. It's like, it has okay, it's better, it's bulkier, so it's better. But there's just bad. I mean, I'm just looking at everything above it. I think all of these Pokemon are better for some reason or another. Like the Grass Stab is cool, but it doesn't help it that much. Maybe B tier. I'll leave it here for now. And on to the Gen 1 rock types. Aerodactyl is a late fossil, but it's fantastic. It's super fast. It hits really hard. Teach it Rock Slide. Teach it Flying Stab. Give it Aerial Ace. It works. It takes care of so many things. It's such a crazy high stat Pokemon. And as soon as you revive it from the fossil, it doesn't evolve, so it's just crazy fast as soon as you get it. So I think this thing's easily S tier. Really crazy offensive Pokemon. And it doesn't have the drawback of... It doesn't hit as hard as Archeops does. Archeops? I'm calling it Archeops. It doesn't hit as hard as it does. But you also don't have the drawback. And you get like Rockhead later on. And do you get Head Smash? I want to double check if he gets Head Smash. I don't think he does. So Rockhead's not that big of a deal. I think Archeops is better. I'll switch that around. I think Archeops is a little bit better, but this thing is fast. 130 speed it's so fast. And 105, yeah, it's really fast. It's really good. Kabutops, I think, is just a much better version of like Relicanth or Swift Swim Dreadnought, because it's really cool because you put it on a rain team. Sure, it's another water type on your rain team, but it's a rock type and it's a physical rock type. So you have, you know, Swift Swim, Rock Slide is really good. Plus you have like Swords Dance, and then you get like Aqua Jet and stuff later generations. It only gets better later generations, but even like in the early Kanto games, you know, give it Rock Slide, you put it on a rain team, or give it Rain Dance, and it's a crazy sweeper, and it handles the Elite Four basically on its own. It does a lot against the Kanto Elite Four. I think it's a good fossil. I think it's really good. It's got good bulk to it. Really cool rain team Pokemon. It's like a staple. It's a staple Nuzlocke rain team Pokemon to me, at least. So I'm gonna put it up here with the other rock water types. I'm gonna put it above all of them. I like it the most. The thing about Omnistar though, it's another water rock Swift Swim Pokemon, but because it's not a physical water rock type, it's kind of just a Swift Swim water type, which is gonna be used by other Pokemon. Like that role is gonna be filled by something else. There's like Golduck or Kingdra are just better, in my opinion, are just straight up better than it at that role. So it's still good. I think I have B tier. Yeah, I still have it like B tier. Put it like over here. It's still good. It's just not as good as literally the other two Kanto fossils. Like if you have to pick one of these three, there's an argument whether you take Kabutops or Aerodactyl. I think there's a very solid argument for the two. And then Omnistar just is so different. I think it's so much worse than the other two. But it's still usable. It's still very, you know, B tier is fine. Rhydon, this is Gen 1, 2, 3. Rhydon, it's a late game rock and ground type. It's solid for what it is, but you know, you're probably just gonna stick with your Golem, honestly, at that point. So it's B tier. I think it's very solid. Onix is notoriously one of the worst Nuzlocke Pokemon ever. The 45 attack is bad. The good thing about Onix is it's an early rock type that resists normal and it has good bulk. And honestly, it's cool that I kind of like that it's really bad because you just take it to something and you let it die. You just take it to something, let it tank something, let it die, get a free swish in later. So you use this thing. It's a really good sack Pokemon. So as a sack Pokemon, it's an S tier, but as an actual Pokemon, it's F tier because it does no damage. And Golem, I think, is A tier because Geodude, early magnitude, and being an early rock type with like Rock Throw, it hits really hard. It carries very well early game. Rock and Ground usually takes care of a lot of the early gyms too. And then Golem is a solid Pokemon. It's not like a crazy late game Pokemon, but it does its job. I think it does well. So I think A tier. And my pick for the Rolling Stone, I think I originally had Rhyperior, but thinking about it more, I kind of want to put Gigalith. I think Sandstream Gigalith is just so crazy. It's so crazy because you get it earlier than like T-Tar. Like T-Tar is better. Like if you have Gigalith and you have T-Tar, at like late game, you're gonna switch the T-Tar out. Or you're going to switch the Gigalith out for the T-Tar, but still, Gigalith is just like, you get it early, it's really good. I don't know. I'm going to put them both. I'm just going to put them both. How about that? I'll put them both. I'm going to cop. I'm going to cop out, kind of. Archeops would be here if Defeatist wasn't a thing. If Defeatist wasn't a thing, Archeops would be like God tier Pokemon, like better than legendaries. And yeah, I'm going to put both of these. Solid Rock, Rhyperior. It's just a crazy tank, does so much damage, and you can like Rock Polish and it gets speed up and just be a crazy sweeper that doesn't die. And Gigalith, you can't be like a crazy sweeper that doesn't die, but you just don't die because you're so bulky. And you still do a ton of damage. And a really good early game rock type, kind of like Geodude is. And I think I'm satisfied with this list. Let me know what your guys' favorite rock type is in the comments below. Mine is far and above Lycanroc. I love Lycanroc, it's one of my favorite Pokemon. But I do love T-Tar. My competitive history with T-Tar and VGC is a fun one. And I think Solrock and Lunatone are cool, as you guys could tell, because they're really high on this list, and you guys are going to disagree with that, but I don't care. Also, I like Kabutops. I like rock types. Armaldo. There's some cool rock types. Let me know your favorite. Anyways, thank you guys. Next week we'll do ground, where you might see a lot of these be talked about again, but who cares? See you guys later.